Hi, my name is Steven, and I make fonts as AeroType. Lately, I've been working a lot on some updates to my family AeroType Lang, and I'm going to talk about a few of them and then also work through some of the small cap extensions as I've been doing in the last few videos. And hi again, later Steven here. I'm just chiming in to say that I actually did release this font this morning, or this update to the font this morning, so it's now available on Future Fonts and on my website, aerotype.com. You're free to check it out if you want to. There's free trials if you want to try it on your own computer. And yeah, please license it if you have a project in mind for it. So thanks so much for watching. The video will continue now. First of all, some kind of fun extensions I did and didn't really record the process of was adding a few more symbols. So @ symbol was actually already in there, but it's here for sake of comparison. I added the Pilcrow, the copyright, the register, the trademark. I improved the asterisk, and then I added a dagger and double dagger. So these are all variable. And yeah, you'll notice perhaps that I didn't actually italicize the copyright glyph. If anybody feels extremely strongly that a copyright glyph should be slanted, I'm definitely open to input. But to be honest, I kind of feel like it works really well upright. Maybe in some cases people would disagree, but yeah, pretty much like I imagine if somebody's like copyright AeroType 2023, that looks good to me. I don't know. I definitely, might change my decision, especially if somebody reaches out and asks me for it. But yeah, for now, I think that makes quite a bit of sense. And then, yeah, I'm trying to make in this family the dagger and double dagger look really similar in style to the asterisk. I've seen that in a few fonts and really appreciate it. So that means that the dagger is delightfully, I don't know, not daggery looking, which is kind of fun. I'm kind of imagining like a physical dagger that is that, well, maybe that would be, there probably are objects like that, but they're not typographic. Anyway, I'm gonna work on some small caps, and I've already kind of worked through the caps that I need for Western European Latin writing. In a previous video, I've shared some of that, but I want to work on rounding out the set. So in this font, I'm supporting most Central European languages as well, plus Vietnamese. And yeah, I just really want to make sure that the small caps, if possible, which I think should be possible, are released with kind of the full character set extension right out of the gate. And I don't have like a particularly great way to do this memorized. I did this bit a few days ago, so like I already slightly forget how I did it. So I'm going to be kind of like working through it and remembering as I go. Like most of my videos, not all, but most, it's not really a tutorial. It's more just like watch me figure it out, and hopefully you learn something along the way / get enjoyment out of watching me suffer. So I'm going to copy all of these glyph names, one per line. And also I'm going to make sure that, okay, so I've got no uncommitted and pushed changes. So if I make, this is in kind of a Git view, if I make a change here and somehow accidentally save it and don't like it, I can revert. But basically, let's, did I do that right? There we go. So I know actually, so I could be pretty smart about this. I'm trying not to be too smart about this. Well, basically, I'm trying to be fast about this. So rather than writing a Python script to like subtract a list of glyphs that I already have versus all of the potential glyphs I would add, I'm just going to see if glyphs kind of covers that for me already. So basically, I've put a cursor in every line, and I'm going to add .sc after it. And let's copy this. And I think if I say add glyphs, where is it? It's Command Shift G, but yeah. I think it'll just tell me, do you want to overwrite these? Yes or no? And I'll say keep existing. And boom. Nice. So that's pretty sick. Because I already had placed anchors in these small cap bases and anchors in the combining accents, which you can find information about that in the Glyphs website about making diacritics, or I've kind of done some work around this in recent videos. Yeah, basically it means that pretty much all of these look pretty good right out of the gate, with a couple of exceptions. So for instance, a big thing is that the U horn has some problems. It's not yet kind of in there. The same would be true about the O horn. But yeah, basically all of these blue ones were just added. And I'm just gonna like open them up where I see issues and fix them. So I see that there's an issue here and here. I see that these are not yet using a small cap. Same for this stuff. And I'm probably missing some things, but that looks like the bulk of it, which isn't as bad as I worried it might be. Let's just double click these and start on it. So did I add an O horn and U horn? Here's the, oops. Here's the U horn and the O horn. Oops, we want O horn .sc. Yes, okay, nice. I got those by Command F, by the way, to insert a glyph. Here, I'm gonna insert the L slash for a reference. Basically, you can see that I just draw this slash. I'm not totally sure. I think you can, well, I know you could make a combining accent and then overlay that in the way that we do most of these. But for the L slash, at least in the like Western and Central European glyph sets, this is kind of the only character with a slash. Like the uppercase and lowercase L slash. So like, whereas it's super worthwhile for me to do, you know, this acute as an accent, and then control it for many characters. It always just kind of seemed like it wouldn't give me too much to do that for the L slash. If you're watching this and thinking that that's silly, it might be, so let me know. And if, yeah, that's a good time when, you know, be a little skeptical of me. I might be not doing everything absolutely perfectly. That said, you know, I try to do things as well as I can, certainly. Within, you know, I try to also balance efficiency and such, so I can do as many things as well as I can. Like, I'd rather include the L slash with maybe a 2% imperfection, say, than exclude it because I'm scared of it, because I don't use it in my own language. Of course, I want to respect, you know, languages and cultures, of course. So it's a balance. I don't know. All right. So the L dot. Let's look at what this one looks like. Okay, I've done pretty much that sort of thing. So yeah, pretty much. I think it has to be a little lower. This is basically for Catalonian, I think. They put a dot between. I think it has to be a little more in the middle, really. This one definitely, almost definitely has to be a lot smaller. And I'm going to scale this a little bit so it decomposes. I think it will decompose. I should check that. I'm going to write that down, actually. Check and scaled comps decomposing. And what I mean here is that, like, where I've done this, like scale a component in a glyph, I really want it to decompose during the build. Otherwise, it can cause issues. So I'm looking down here and just trying to make sure it's pretty much in the middle. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me, I think. Catalonians out there, if you're watching, you know, let me know what you think. Okay, so let's do U-horn. I didn't explain myself for the decomposition very well. If you have something scaling or flipping, and you export that font, fonts call components. I think especially TTF fonts, maybe OTFs don't. And then if you have a component, most things work fine. So the example of, you know, E acute is kind of the most basic accent I think of, because it's a very commonly used one in like French and Spanish, I think, certainly French. And yeah, pretty simple. But so say this is not scaled or anything, but say we scaled it like that. And we wanted it like that for some reason, just for the sake of the example. If we exported that into TTF, this would fail kind of in many printers, like many desktop printers, because they rely on PostScript software that was written in like the 90s, literally, that didn't know how to handle scaled components in a TTF. So for instance, I learned this because back in the recursive project for Google Fonts, we had printed a bunch of specimens and my TTFs did have scaled components. And yeah, basically what happens is that the printer like throws them like way off to the left, I think, like at the very start of the glyph rather than placing them correctly. That's also a huge problem in things like, I prefer, for instance, to, well, I don't know if I've done it here. Yeah, to use, say, a component in my exclam down, for instance, and this is flipped, so it'll have similar issues in printing. So what you can do is set up rules. If you're using FontMake, you can set up UFO to font rules to decompose those things. You know what? Let's just go ahead and check that we've done that. While we're on the subject, no time like the present. So yeah, let's just kind of check it out here. I'll drag a TTF into glyphs and cool. So that's decomposed. Whereas, just to make sure I'm remembering this all correct. Yeah, this is still a component. Funny. Yeah, it's like overlapping, but yeah, that kind of showed it. So that's great news. The scaled components are indeed getting decomposed. The flipped, well, when I'm trying to think of one that I literally know is scaled. That one is just flipped. That's pretty much the same thing. I think it's the same UFO to font filter that decomposes scaled and flipped. So I think we're good. All right. Wait, no, stop. So another thing that I just draw to get a better version of it rather than dealing with overlap is like the U horn and usually the O horn. So I'm going to disable automatic alignment, decompose these things, and let's just draw it the best we can. So I think that is like, it's pretty much doing this kind of deal, and then remove overlap. Does this still make sense to have a top right? I don't think so, but it's also hard to know how much space we have to give it. I'm going to tuck it in a little more because it's just a lot, and I think more than we probably need there. If you've never drawn Vietnamese diacritics, by the way, they're not too bad. I've got a video where I talk about it, I think for the Chantel Sands project. But basically, there's a website called like Vietnamese Typography by Donnie Nguyen, I think. And no, Donnie Truong, sorry. And yeah, it kind of covers a lot of basics about how you do it and shows a bunch of typefaces that he finds to be good examples. So, okay, here again, you see that I've just drawn this one straight up to achieve the best possible results. And you don't have to draw too many things for Vietnamese, but it's a bit like, you know, I think of it sort of like you would very seldom try to get away with using components for the AE or OE because it's just kind of a different shape. So that's a little bit how I approach the like O horn and U horn, though I recognize that, you know, every design is different, so it may not always be absolutely necessary or called for or whatever. Okay. But I really like to do things like having a smooth connection here when it's relatively easy to do. So that's what I'm going for. Oops. I'm just adding a little ink trap bit, and I should really tuck this way further in. So let's do that. I'm going to place O small cap as a background component so that I can see where I'm actually going with it in a better way. What was it? U horn at SC. Something like that seems pretty solid to me. Sure, they look somewhat different, but they are the same height, and I think fairly okay. It's very faint. There's like the line of the background shape there. So I'm just kind of matching up to that a little bit. All right, and then let's do it for the thin style as well. Okay, let's select all of these, Command A, decompose, bring you over here. Command Shift O to remove overlap. And this point didn't exist in the bold one, so I'm going to do something like this, I think. We'll see how that looks. Yeah, okay, I probably don't even have to angle it down so much. We'll just do it like this. Decompose. We'll just kind of let this tuck in a bit. Do something like that. I see that was a smooth point, so looking mostly good, but that one was a bit out of place. Yeah, something about like that, I think. Maybe it should be a little longer to slightly match the U. And I pretty much say it in every video, but when I change something like this, I hold Control Option and then actually Shift in this case. But the Control Option allows these to scale with the overall movement, which works really nicely. Whereas if I don't hold those and I'm just doing Shift to get the big nudges, it kind of destroys the curve as I scale. So that's no good. But if I do this, the curve stays more closely intact as something close to the right amount of curvature. Okay. So those seem pretty decent. What I'm going to do is go back and select all these horns and regenerate them. So I wish let's see how useful this is. Can this accept, that's too bad. I wish this could accept regex. There might be, I'm sure there, well, I'm guessing there's a way to do that. But like, I wish I could do a wildcard like asterisk. But okay, it's extremely visible actually. So I think I should just be able to do it here. Okay, so I'm going to copy glyphs names, one per line. I'm going to say Command-Shift-G, boom, paste. Okay, and then I am going to replace. Aha, and it did a much better job replacing with the component I actually want. And these are looking pretty good. This is a near crash here, which isn't ideal. What do I do for the O horn tilde? Especially the lowercase O horn tilde. Sometimes I scale it or I draw a particular tilde comb. No, I guess not. I think I just made this shorter slash. Yeah, I made it shorter. And this one's a lot wider. Okay. I think I'm going to make these just slightly shorter so I don't have to worry quite as much. And then in the U, honestly, I could just nudge the top over a little bit more because these all look, to me, a little bit close to the right side. That kind of looks a little bit more optically correct to me. And then also, yeah, let's kind of nudge this down, holding that Control Option deal. All right, we'll cheat it a little bit. Cool. So that's pretty good. All right. Yeah. So, geez, was it that simple? I think so. Let's pull up all of these and do like a. I guess I should check whether they are actually working. That specifically, like, I believe that this has a localized form for the L dot in Catalan, probably. I should really know what the proper word is there. But yeah, does that hold when I activate it? Does it hold when I activate small caps? And I probably have to update my list. Yeah, that would be the second half of this. I really need to update what things get replaced to include the entire list of all small caps. And this is the kind of thing where potentially adding classes would be a little bit better. But then again, I don't know. It is pretty easy just to like make a huge long list of sub this by that. So I'm on the fence. But for instance, I'm going to copy glyph names, one per line. Go over here. And yeah, so let's select .sc, Command Shift L to put our cursor for everyone. And I'm going to hit right to go to the end of the line, Command left to go to the beginning. I'm going to say sub, Option Shift right to copy that by that. And then pop a semicolon at the end of the line. And boom, I've got a bunch of lines of sub this by that. And then let's test that in our capitals from small caps. And that's followed by our numerals. So that is good. And I think that will work for like the L dot, for instance. L dot, L comma accent. We should also do this for lowercase. Which I think this... Interesting. This might be a time where using lowercase... Well, this would be a time where using classes would make sense. And it would keep the... What am I thinking? Features simpler. Let's try it. So I'm gonna copy space separated. Oh. If you use classes, they have to exactly match 1-to-1, and I'm like wondering if I've got all of these J local Netherlands things and whether I probably do need them in the small caps. I don't know. Hard things. I might have to come back to this on my own when I can think without having to explain my thoughts. But let's try this deal. So we'll do S for string equals 3 quote marks, gives us a string with the ability to have new lines. That. Okay, so that's the big list we just copied out of VS Code. And then I'm going to say S lower, wait. Yeah, is it just that? Yes. Okay. And could do this in Python, but I could also just replace all those with multi-select, which, oh, I also have to select every space, change it into an uppercase or a line return. I could have just done that for this. Let's do that to start. Okay, so I've got all these \n's. I'll just change them. Oops, no, there. Into actual new lines, and then copy them. I've got this extra line I don't want. I don't want the extra line because I have to exactly line it up here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, not what we want. Whatever, I'll just do it the slightly slow way. Command Option and down arrow to put a cursor up before every line. Okay, let's see if this works. Yes, I believe it did. Let's spot check. JAcute, R, accent. Cool. Let's try this. I think that should work. And again, I might change it later on, so I don't know. But let's give it a shot. Oh, it's saying uCaren doesn't exist. But it probably should. Unless it's like one of those uni labeled things. Yes, it is. Why isn't it just called uCaren? It's probably an artifact. I think it'll still work well if I call it uCaren. It's probably an artifact of having started this project in RoboFont and then brought it over to Glyphs. Let's check that it still has. Okay, it has a Unicode, so I think it's good. And yeah, let's make sure we add all of these to our italic as well. And repeat. Yeah, hang on. Copy, space separated. Well, one per line maybe. And we're going to keep existing. Cool. So we've got a similar view to before. And similar to before, we need to fix these several U horn, where are you? Well, it doesn't really matter. I'll just add it. Okay. O horn and U horn. I'm just trying to pull this up in a view so I can copy things over. Oh, nice. It does appear to paste it in the scale version, which is solid. Just trying to switch between them. I'm switching between with Command tilde. By the way, that very slightly stretches it out or makes it a little thinner. So we can bump it up a little bit, but that was maybe too much. That feels about right. And that feels about right. Okay, then we've got these. I think what I'll do is just copy this portion of the glyph. And then I'll paste it here. Do that. And then kind of try to line it up again. Yeah, that seems about right. All right. Okay. Then I'm going to Option Delete and dock it into place just by nudging those. And then I better fix this. Honestly, I don't think I need this. Oops, let me delete that one. I probably had it like curling in with an ink trap sort of thing earlier. So that one's pretty much in line with it. Sorry about all these lines. They don't make any sense right just yet. But they will once the thing is compatible. They're just showing us that it's not yet. Let's show all instances so we see it when it is compatible. Command Shift R. Oops, Command Shift R. Shift R. So it seems like it should be compatible, but it's not yet. I should move this down to be more in line with the glyph in the background there. I think honestly I should do that again here, because the italic glyph is a little bit rotated, sort of. Yeah, so why is it not compatible yet? Oh, I still have this point here. Yeah, all right, now it's a compatible glyph, so that's good news. Let's do it here. Should be faster relatively. You know, I'm going to delete you and delete you because I do not need you. And oops, no, what? Ugh, I think I did Command C. Let's check that these are compatible. Cool. Let's see what happens if we decompose this. Let's kind of put that in the same spot. Option delete. And I guess we had -1 in that one. Here, let's do it again. Interesting, this is rotated a bit further even. Or rather slanted a bit further. But we'll just try it like this to start out. Is that 2 points? It shows in a red dot, so it usually would mean it. There. I just like clicked on one and then tabbed over to the other. Okay. So now that we've got these ducks in a row, let's do that thing again where we regenerate just those ones. Scroll back through my paste app stack here. These. Oh, I could have just searched, but oh well. Replace. Cool. It replaced them. Excellent. Looks better. Oh yeah, let's do this again. Or just cheated it over slightly. Okay. Cool. And finally, let's add these updated features. Wish there were an easier way to... There might be, of course. There's a lot of ways to do most things. Small caps. That, okay. That's just added to the end, so I want to remove these. Cool. These still have the punctuation, which is important. Okay, so let's just basically drag these up and then delete these earlier ones. Cool. And a question that I suddenly have, and this might be for a future version, is should I be replacing every possible swash? No, because the swash is happening after the small caps. So I don't think that there's a case where I want to add swashes and then replace them with caps to small caps. I think they'll already be replaced with small caps, and so the swashes just won't go over it. If you hear my heater gurgling in the background, that is because I live in a New York apartment. And I'm grateful to have heat, but it does make funny noises. Okay. Maybe I'll point that one up slightly. Okay, so I want to test this in a basic way in our build. Let me do that thing again where I exit before we build anything more than the anything too much. Anything more than the variable fonts, that is. Okay, and let's check them out. We're here. Option Command brings them up in Finder. And then I've got font goggles set to my default app to open fonts. And let's just test a few. E, A, O, oops. Basically, when you hold on a Mac Option and then click a character, you can get a lot of different special characters. So yeah, that's basically what I tried there. And small caps. Oops, we need caps to small caps. Well, we could also test these. Okay, so small caps does that, gets those in small caps. Caps to small caps should do that. Cool. And none of these are actually the things we just made. So let's bring up the character palette and search for horn. Here, like this is more like what we need. Cool. That is looking like a small cap. Yes, it is. So that seems like pretty good news. Our punctuation is working. Nice. Cool. I believe I need to go on my own and check this again when I'm not trying to narrate it, but I think that I now have the full character set in the small caps. So that is great news. Seems like it's working well. And yeah, oh, one other thing I changed recently was I added a boring G. And it looks pretty good. There's still the kind of extremely cute G if you want it as the default. But I recognize that in some contexts, a boring G is probably best. I mean, it's still kind of a cool G, I gotta say. But like, if I don't know, you're a finance company, maybe you want a slightly more normal lowercase g for your financial reporting or something, rather than this like little bug of a G. Okay, well, yeah, hopefully that was fun. If you're working on a font, hope it's going great. If you're working on a creative project or a project, I hope it's going great. And thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Please, like and comment, and take care.